รายการต่อไปนี้เป็นรายการทั่วไปสามารถรับชมได้ทุกวัย
สนับสนุนโดย World Camera กันเองทุกเรื่องกล้องและการถ่ายภาพ AIS 4G Advanced 4G ที่เร็วที่สุดจาก AIS
Ambassador Barsky, we are living in a very, should I say, dangerous world these days. Situation in Syria, the decision by the American President Donald Trump to bomb the airfield in Syria, and also decision to send the USS Carl Vinson back to the Korean Peninsula. All these have raised the temperature around the world. Yep. From the Russian viewpoint, I think President Putin has made it very clear that Russia will be present in Syria, and that if a new round of bombing takes place in Syria by the Americans, then Russia and the Syrian government and Iran will respond with force. That's a very straightforward, very strong statement. What is your evaluation of the situation?
First of all, I would like to say that you are absolutely right. Mm-hmm. The situation is changing for the worse. Mm-hmm. And after so many years of very turbulent international situation, mm-hmm. It is very sad. Because we all, I mean the international community, yep. Russians, Americans, mm-hmm. Europeans, mm-hmm. we all longed for some gulp of a fresh air after so many years of very tense international situation, mm-hmm. lots of conflicts, the rise of international terrorism, the migration problem in Europe, mm-hmm. The civil war in Ukraine, Russian-American tensions, mm-hmm. sanctions of the West against Russia, mm-hmm. South China Sea, nuclear tests by the North Korean government. A lot of challenges that we are facing. I just named a few, but there are many, many more.
And the world becomes a more dangerous place.
But now we see that new light of hope mm-hmm. that everyone was dreaming of mm-hmm. is not coming.
No,
we see that the international situation is becoming more perplexed,
right.
And the old problems are aggravated. Mm-hmm. At the same time, new problems mm-hmm. Seem to be created.
Right.
It's really a very uneasy mm-hmm. situation that we still need to face, and we still need to make another try mm-hmm. to find a solution.
Since President Donald Trump became the head of the United States, things have gotten worse with the whole situation around the world. I thought in the beginning that Mr. Trump said, he could talk to President Putin, that, he could make the relationship between the United States and Russia better than the previous president, meaning Obama. But then suddenly, something happened, and Mr. Putin and Mr. Trump don't speak the same language. What happened?
Well, first of all, let me emphasize that Mr. Donald Trump is not my president.
No, I know that.
At least now everybody understands that it was not the Russian hackers who were behind the coming of Mr. Donald Trump to power.
No.
Otherwise, why we should have done so?
All right.
But of course, this is a joke. On a more serious note, I would say that things have become a bit bizarre from many perspectives. Indeed, we in Russia, like many people around the globe, were hopeful of a new relationship between the American president and the Russian president, between the US and the Russian Federation. Many experts agreed that enough is enough.
Right.
Confrontation between the US and Russia is not beneficial to anybody. It is detrimental to the strategic stability. It is counterproductive in terms of fighting terrorism. It brings material losses to business communities in Russia, in America, but more, even more so, to the European Union member states and their business people. So everybody's complaining. Let's stop this. Let's try to take a fresh look at what is going on.
Enough is enough.
Try to find solutions. Enough is enough. We were very encouraged by the statements made by Mr. Donald Trump during his election campaign. We all remember very well how favorably he spoke of my president, saying that he could get along with him, most probably, that the primary goal of the United States on the international scene is to fight terrorism. And from this, we were maybe too fast to jump to a conclusion that things will change overnight. But I want to make sure that you understand the Russian position very well. From the very start of the signs in the election campaign that Donald Trump is going to win the elections and become the president of the United States, the official position of the Russian Federation was very cautious. I would call it cautious optimism. Throughout all those months, we continued to radiate positive sentiments. And we were repeating time and again that, of course, we will judge the new American policy under President Trump, not by words, but by deeds, by actions that he is going to take. And when my president and my Minister of Foreign Affairs were asked about the Russia's assessment of the new policy of the U.S. administrations towards Russia, and on global issues, in regional conflicts, we were repeating one simple thing. We have to wait until the administration is shaped, until all the necessary people are in place, and until the United States formulate the new policy. And this policy, indeed, was supposed to be new, because Mr. Trump energized the American politics by proclaiming some new ideas, new values, new policies, and after coming to the White House, he started to take action, which in most cases proved his commitment to the obligations that he announced during the election.
So he's living up to his election promises.
Yes.
Up to a point.
That's true. And we were not in a rush to resume our dialogue with the U.S. administration. We said that, as before, Russia is open to cooperation with the United States on those issues which are important for international peace and security, for regional stability, issues where our interests overlap. So we kept this standby regime in our expectations.
Right.
But all of a sudden, we witnessed an airstrike.
Yeah, you said all of a sudden, so you didn't expect this?
Well, of course, the Americans warned us one day before.
One day before?
Yes, but I think we in Russia were caught by surprise the same way as the allies of the United States in Europe and elsewhere. We now hear them supporting the military action by the United States, which is, by the way, strictly prohibited by the United Nations Charter and is in contradiction with the international law. But what else can allies say? Of course they say, yes, we support, it was important. But my understanding is that inside their hearts there's some very, very hard feeling that they had not been even consulted. Or
no, I don't think they were
to support things that they do not sincerely believe in. As to Russia and China, I think it was a bad thing because it undermines the possibility of a strategic dialogue on many issues, especially on counterterrorism.
That's right.
If you remember when issues of terrorism, issues of Syria were discussed in the Security Council.
Yes.
Russia and China, alongside other countries, were very firmly in favor of more international cooperation on Syria.
Right.
In joining hands of the Russian-led counterterrorism forces, American-led counterterrorism coalition. Our president announced the idea of forging a united front against international terrorism in 2015 when he spoke at the UN General Assembly session. So after this very unexpected, unprovoked, it has become even more difficult than before to come to a common denominator, so to say.
Sure.
I guess that after the visit of President Xi Jinping to the United States, which was very important,
it was,
to the whole world,
sure,
and there were some positive signs as the outcome of those talks. But the final part of the visit was so messed up that I feel that there will be more tough negotiations between the US and China in the future.
President Trump said that the main reason he decided to strike at the Syrian airfield was the pictures he saw of children being killed by chemical weapons. But the Russian government seems to have said that no, there is no chemical weapon at all. What, in fact, is the real story?
สนับสนุนโดยยูโรเค้กอร่อยทุกที่ทุกเวลาพรีเมียมเอาท์เล็ตแฟคทอรี่เอาท์เล็ตของแบรนด์เนมระดับพรีเมียม
I guess that after the visit of President Xi Jinping to the United States, which was very important,
yeah, it was,
to the whole world,
sure,
and there were some positive signs as the outcome of those talks, but the final part of the visit was so messed up that I feel that there will be more tough negotiations between the US and China in the future.
President Trump said that the main reason he decided to strike at the Syrian airfield was the pictures he saw of children being killed by chemical weapons, and that he felt the moral authority to send a tough warning to the Syrian government, and also to send warnings to Russia for supporting the al-Assad government. But the Russian government seems to have said that no, there was no chemical weapon at all. What in fact is the real story?
Let me tell you several things. Point number one, of course it is very good that the American leader is a very emotional and a very kind person, and he has sympathy for the children who are suffering. Let me just add to that that children are suffering in many places in our world, and sometimes under the American bombings.
Yeah.
And because of the American failures to coordinate humanitarian aid or to streamline its military efforts, like in Mosul or in Afghanistan, or because of the mistakes made by the United States and the European allies in taking some strategic decisions, like to topple Muammar Gaddafi in Libya, or stirring turmoil in a wide range of Middle East countries, like Yemen or Egypt or Tunisia. Of course, this is something that the American president should take into consideration, altogether with the sufferings of children in Syria, of course. We are compassionate to the sufferings of the Syrian people. Maybe this is one of the reasons why the Russian troops are there, why we are supporting the government of the Syrian Arab Republic in its effort to liberate its country from the terrorists and to stop this suffering of the Syrian people. You asked a question. Why Russia and the United States have different views on what happened in the province of Idlib, on the 4th of April.
Yes.
Well, what we are having in our hands now are allegations, no facts.
Allegations.
Our positions from the very start was absolutely clear-cut. Yes, we are very disturbed by the consequences of the bomb blast, which occurred, as I understand, after the attack of the Syrian Air Force on the depot or storages or production facilities in Idlib province. Our understanding is that these were the depots and storages and the facilities where the terrorists were assembling chemical weapons. But it needs to be proved. We are not the gods, you know, we don't have a magic wand. We cannot see the situation with the exact accuracy, but we can send a fact-finding mission. And the best thing would be to send the United Nations experts
a neutral party,
chemical weapons, or to choose the Organization on Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, which is directly in charge of verifying the use or the consequences of the spread of the chemical weapons. So the first thing that we did, and China supported us, let us adopt a UN Security Council resolution. We suggested that even before that incident, because there were other incidents, many of them, and in most cases we suspected the terrorist organizations to use chemical weapons against the Syrian government forces. Why we were coming to this conclusion? Because it was the Organization on the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons which confirmed that the Syrian troops do not possess chemical weapons anymore. You remember that very successful joint action taken by the international community, led by the United States and Russia, when in 2013 and 2014, the chemical weapons were withdrawn from Syria and destroyed. And to our understanding, that was the end of the chemical program of the Syrian government. We do not have evidence that the Syrian troops used chemical weapons. But we had very strong suspicions that still part of the chemical weapons were obtained or captured by the terrorists, who at one point occupied, if I'm not mistaken, more than 50% of the territory of Syria. They not only missed this chance to investigate the origins of this incident in the Idlib province, but they could have scared by the prospect of arriving in the Idlib province and discovering that it was not the Syrian army who used the chemical weapons. Of course, this is my wild guess, but it looks like they were so fast to accuse the Syrian troops of using the chemical weapons because there were some other reasons to do so. They were not. They seem not to be interested in facts, but they wanted to teach a lesson probably to the Assad regime, as you said in your question. They probably wanted to send a message
to Russia, to some other countries. Although it is absolutely useless to use this leverage with such countries as the Russian Federation. But you can never pressure Russia into this kind of...
History proves this time after time. And the last thing I want to say, answering your question, when you are a president of a country, especially of a big country, especially if you consider yourself to be a superpower, you cannot take action based on your emotions. Everything which is done by major powers, especially in the field of security and strategic stability, should be very well elaborated. All decisions should be made on the informed basis and with the due account to all factors and consideration of all possible implications of your actions. So this is why Russia is strictly opposed to any military action against a sovereign country in flagrant violation of the UN Charter and the international law. And this is the only qualification we can do to what happened on the 7th of April. I am really amazed by the unanimity of the positions taken by many Western countries with regard to this illegal and absolutely inadmissible bombing of a sovereign country, especially the military facilities of a sovereign country. The situation in Syria does not have a military solution.
No, you don't think so?
Absolutely.
No.
We've been fighting, we've been witnessing the fighting in Syria for
7 years.
7
Nearly
years
7
now.
years, yes.
And no end. And if the Americans thought that by making a very inaccurate, I would say, airstrike against the...
Inaccurate. You didn't hit the targets.
They didn't hit the targets, and the airbase restarted its work the second day.
That's right. That's right.
But let's leave it for the military people to assess the accuracy, or the damage done, and so on. But I want to say, if they wanted to change the game by this unhappy airstrike, that was a total make-believe. I don't know who gave this consent to President Trump, or was it his personal decision. But it was a very unfortunate decision.
Very. Now the position that the United States take and the Russian side take in Syria is on opposite sides. The Russian president says that President al-Assad must stay. President Trump says he must go. What's going to happen? Because both sides are very strong, Russia and the United States, and they are now in a state of confrontation. Will war break out, you think, between you and the United States? Now the position that the United States take and the Russian side take in Syria is on opposite sides. The Russian president says that President al-Assad must stay. President Trump says he must go, or at least his Secretary of State Tillerson has just reiterated that what the solution is for Assad to go. What's going to happen? Because both sides are very strong, Russia and the United States, and they are now in a state of confrontation. Will war break out, you think, between you and the United States?
You're a fantastic analyst, Sutichai, but if you allow me, I will correct your understanding of the situation.
Please do.
Russia and the United States are not in confrontation.
No?
No. Russia has never said Assad should stay. Our position is that the future of President Bashar Assad must be decided by the people of Syria. This is why we stood so firmly in favor of national reconciliation, peace talks that we painstakingly jump-started in Astana and continued in Geneva, because we realize that without the Syrian people, nobody can decide the future of Syria.
Right.
And it will be the political parties of Syria who will sit down, find a solution, draft a new constitution, hold free democratic elections. Of course, after the war is over and terrorism is defeated in Syria, it's obvious that the sequence of these tasks is such and not
the other way around.
Not the other way around. We should not put the carriage in front of the horse. And after that, the Syrian people will have a chance to make it safe. And we in Russia will recognize any president and any government which will be elected by the Syrian people. And when we are talking about the Russian position and the American position, again, your formula is not very accurate. That Russia and the United States are completely at odds in Syria. I wouldn't say so.
No.
Because if we analyze the objective goals of Russia, the United States, and the whole international community in Syria, it is our firm belief that the goal number one is to stop the spread of terrorism and religious extremism, which has become a hotbed of many other problems in the world. The terrorist attacks which occurred in France, in Germany, in Russia, in Sweden, in the UK, I think it would be very naive to believe that they have nothing to do with the stronghold of terrorism in Iraq and Syria, which gave the so-called Islamic State, Jabhat al-Nusra, and other terrorist organizations a carte blanche. They're using the natural resources of these regions. They are receiving financial support from abroad. They are obtaining weapons left by the armies of the countries who surrendered those territories to them. At a certain point of history, those terrorist forces started to feel that they are taking the upper hand. I want you to see the logic of the international situation. Why are we seeing so many terrorist attacks in the last several months?
Why?
Because the Syrian troops who are fighting international terrorism in their homeland with the support of Russia, Iran, and other like-minded countries, they started to achieve the military defeat over
against
the ISIS. And it is a state of shock. It is a state of panic for the terrorists and for those forces who support them. So now they are squeezed out of Syria, and they don't know what to do. Because I hope that very soon Raqqa will fall, Mosul will fall, the Idlib province will be liberated. Now we have good cooperation not only with Syria and Iran, but also Turkey joined hands with us, and the ceasefire was announced, as you know. It is very difficult to keep this going, but after so many years of fighting, to the countries of the region, it becomes more and more obvious that this should be stopped. And when terrorism is not controlling the situation in the region anymore, they start to spread out, and they try to make the European nations Russia, the United States, the Arab countries, to make them kneel down and to stop their efforts to get away with terrorism in Syria. But we need to be strong. We are suffering losses. We are losing human lives.
Sure.
This is very painful.
Sure.
But again, we need to be strong. We need to stand tall, and we need to be together. So when you formulated your question, you implied that there is kind of a complete difference, the opposition of the approaches of Russia and the United States, and even confrontation between Russia and the United States. I hope not. I still hope that objectively speaking, from the strategic height of the war and peace, if you wish, Russia and the United States need to work together.